Hey guys, what's up man, 945 here, welcome back to another video. I think this should be pretty obvious, what this video is going to be about. There is a reason that I have the article pulled up here. Um, Now, I realize I'm a couple days late to the party. Sorry about that. Haven't had much time to record lately. Um, um, and yeah, I want to talk about this. Um, because when this news came out on Friday, this was just absolutely shocking, especially to a huge Dragon Ball fan. Um, I think it's very tragic he died in like 68. I've known many people that lived a lot longer and died at a much older age than that. Um, and the condition, I've looked it up on my own time. It sounds like a very painful thing, but you know, so it's a very sad, um, just state of affairs right now, all this stuff going on. Um, this is the official letter that was posted on Twitter. Um, I'm sure that most of you have already seen this, and this part of it is not that surprising. Um, and obviously, the biggest thing is Akira Toriyama did was he created Dragon Ball. He was also the artist behind Dragon Quest, Chrono Trigger, and a lot of other things. Um, and obviously, Kishimoto and Oda, the creators of Dragon Ball and One Piece, respectively. Dragon Ball. Naruto and One Piece have both released their own letters on Twitter that have expressed their grief and loss for Toriyama, and both of those letters are just absolutely beautiful. I'm not going to read them out in this video because I don't think that would do them justice. Just like they're so just pure word, especially Oda's one. Um, and That's kind of the shorthand part of the video, and as just the camera there. Um, this is not going to be a particularly long video, but um, I'm sure I've already probably watched a dozen videos doing this exact same thing that I'm doing in this video myself. Um, but I wanted to record something because, especially as I've had a couple of days to think on it, I've been thinking a lot lately about what things I really like actually mean to me, and in particular, I've been doing that with Dragon Ball, and in fact, I've even started rewatching Dragon Ball Z. Although, admittedly, I'm watching it through time for the first time instead of rewatching the original series like I did the first time, just because I want a slightly more condensed experience, I think. But in this video, I just wanted to talk about like what Dragon Ball means to me and why I really like it. Um, and To kind of give some context as to how I started Dragon Ball. Um, I think I might have told this story in like either a video I did recently with my friend Seth, where we tried to guess each other's favorite video games. I can't remember if I mentioned that or not, but there was this game called Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. As I understand it, it's a fairly popular Dragon Ball game. It's the only one I've ever played because I couldn't really get into Kakarot personally. Um, And basically, I think oh yeah, it was 2017, I think. Like Thanksgiving of 2017, we were visiting my cousin's house in Virginia. Um, and like my older cousin at the time, who I was really close to, um, was playing the game on his Switch, and he let me try it, and I quickly became obsessed with the game, even though I knew absolutely nothing about Dragon Ball. And then I think for my next birthday in 2018, my dad got me the game on Xbox, and I had a fucking phase with that game, man. I was obsessed with that game. Like, I completed the main story to that game, I kid you not, over 15 times. And in between then, I also just because I was curious, did a lot of reading on the Dragon Ball wiki to like supplement my knowledge, even though I had never watched any Dragon Ball anime before. To this day, I'm not really sure why I did that. Um, but I just, I genuinely, I don't really know why I did that, honestly. But that's kind of a side point because um, that game is kind of what opened my eyes to the world of Dragon Ball. And so when I started watching anime, this is like late 2022, I watched Attack on Titan in June of 2022 for the first time. Then I kind of took a little bit of a break from anime because I rewatched Breaking Bad, and I also was rewatching Cobra Kai for when season 5 came out. Still waiting on season 6. Season 6 hype. But I remember I had been thinking about at the time, like I knew I wanted to watch more anime, and I had quite a few different ideas in terms of ways that I could continue past Attack on Titan. Like my sister at the time recommended Demon Slayer. I'd heard Death Note probably around that time. I'm sure I heard One Piece. Maybe not. I'm not quite sure on that one. But um I didn't get to those in time. Like I think Death Note after Dragon Ball was probably like my fifth anime, and Demon Slayer I think was number six. Um, so I still enjoyed both those shows very much. But Dragon Ball was special because I kind of just jumped into it. And the only thing I really had to go off of was very like limited knowledge from the games and the wiki reading that I used to do when I was young. And I went into OG Dragon Ball completely just basically blind because like it's weird. It was kind of like I guess 20% blind with like all the stuff I remembered um from the previous things with it, Dragon Ball. Um and I was just immediately just sucked in. I was so um like and I'm gonna kind of go through this like show by show. But the thing I loved about like OG Dragon Ball is the fact that it really felt like an adventure. Goku was such a fun and awesome protagonist to follow in the beginning of his life in the OG Dragon Ball show. And to this day, and in fact, I will probably always say that I think OG Dragon Ball is criminally underrated. Um, And um, I loved like the imagination to it, just the general like, whimsy and magic that was created by all the things that were present in the world, such as like, giant talking winged monsters, there were dinosaurs, there was like all this crazy stuff that like shape shifting pigs and whatnot, and obviously like the threats were very like minuscule, like Emperor Pilaf and the Red Ribbon Army weren't exactly what I would call dangerous threats necessarily. But then we get to King Piccolo, and that is where like my enjoyment kind of went, from this, to like shooting off because King Piccolo, that was a real gold mine in OG Dragon Ball because he was so much more of a menacing threat and he really seemed unstoppable. And the sense of history that was created by providing Master Roshi's backstory and his Master Mutato and like their experiences trying to fight Piccolo. I loved that, and I thought it was the best. It's my personal favorite moment for Roshi's character outside of the Tournament of Power when he goes all bulky mode. Um, and that, mind you, that is not saying anything about tournaments. Um, because my God, those tournament arcs are still like individually some of the best parts of all the anime I've watched so far, which at this point is 31, I think. Um, and um, yeah, uh those tournament arcs were just something like they were captivating in a way that I had seen with very few other pieces of media, and still to this day, with all the anime I've watched, very few things have had that same hype. Not like to the same level, because, I've watched so many fucking incredible shows that captivate me, obviously, but like the same type of captivation that those tournament arcs made for me. Um, like the way that every single like matchup was seemingly predictable, but that was mostly based off what I remembered from my scattered memories of Dragon Ball. Um, See, if I got into it completely blind, I don't think I would have been able to predict a lot of the matchups, and I think that's the biggest strength is the fact that a lot of them felt very organic. And obviously, I'm talking about the actual tournament, not the preliminaries where Goku really beat everyone in one hit. Um, but also the way that it managed to demonstrate a sense of scale in its role by having all these really really buff guys and then Goku and Krillin defeat them in one punch. Very similar inspirations. They're you could see that a lot in Heaven's Arena in Hunter x Hunter. I wouldn't be surprised there was some inspiration taken there personally. Um, and yeah, I love OG Dragon Ball, and I always say it's criminally underrated. And then of course we get to Dragon Ball Z, which is just a masterpiece. It's still in my top 10 anime of all time, and it probably will be for if not forever, then a very long time. And at the very least, it will always, always, something Dragon Ball related will always, always, always be in my 3 by 3 of some capacity because that's how important Dragon Ball was and still is to how much I enjoy anime to this day. Um, And obviously, like, what can I say about Z that already hasn't been said? There's a reason I'm rewatching it now, even if it's through Kai. Um, like, Cell is such a perfect villain. Vegeta is one of my favorite characters in all of fiction, and I will definitely go more in depth of that whenever I get to that injury in the Sekaku Bunseki series, which I do plan to continue at some point. Just whenever I feel like it, I will. But like Piccolo and Tien are great. Gohan is incredible. Um, Probably my second favorite Dragon Ball character behind, well, maybe third behind like, Beerus and Vegeta. Um, Goku, as ever, is still an amazing protagonist to follow in Z. Um, Frieza, like all these antagonists are just legendary. Majin Buu to a lesser extent, but that one's not really as remembered for its villain. That's more for other things. But like the fight, like again, what hasn't been said about Dragon Ball Z? It's a classic. The story threads are incredible. Toriyama is an expert at writing captivating villains and making them seem really threatening on an earthly level, and then expanding that scale up and upward, and really making the villains feel sometimes human, but then also inhumane in a lot of other freaking ways, which just is so great. Um, the fight choreography is incredible. I mean, this is like the foundation of modern shonen, which should make sense. Um, and um, and then of course the ending just being really great. Of course, um, yeah, I don't have as much to say about Dragon Ball Z because it's a fucking classic. And now, when it comes to Super, I know people dog on it a lot, and there are some parts that probably deserve to be dogged on, like Golden Frieza Saga wasn't that great. Um, and yeah, tournament of like tournament Universe 6 versus Universe 7 Tournament of Destroyers was okay at best. Tournament of Power was hype. I love Battle of Gods, and my favorite from Super and one of my favorite Dragon Ball arcs period is definitely Goku Black arc. Because that just had so much cool shit in it and such neat concepts and whatnot. Um, so yeah, it was a bit of a mess, but I do maintain that Super was good and it had a lot of really freaking cool ideas personally. Um, and um, when you move on from Super, this is another thing that this is another thing that like until I thought about it recently, like um, I realized it's just something that I love that much more about like what Dragon Ball means to me and what it did for me in terms of helping me enjoy things. Because it helped me enjoy anime. I've already established that. But another thing it helped me do is it really helped me enjoy manga a lot more. Um, Now, by that time, I had already read Berserk, and in terms of that side of it, I fucking love manga because Berserk is one of the greatest works of fiction ever written. Um, but I had, beyond that, my only experience was, catching up to One Piece, and I personally do think the manga has flaws. I think that Oda's paneling style always feels way, way too cramped. And again, with regarding One Piece, this is just what I've read with like Egghead. I have not read any of the manga from like the beginning of the series. I watched the anime fully caught up until, you know, like where they were like where I stopped before like the end of one. It was where I caught up fully and started reading the manga to catch up to Egghead. Um, and yeah, when I like I gotten the Shonen Jump app subscription to catch up to One Piece, and I wasn't really planning to continue any more manga. But then just like a thought appeared in my head one day, and I was like, oh, you know what? I guess I can catch the Dragon Ball Super. Because it was a nice memory jog of what was going on with Dragon Ball, and I had felt a hankering to read to have something digestive Dragon Ball related again. And so, um, what that managed to do for me is it managed to show me like, man, manga can be really great. Not that I disliked the One Piece manga. I enjoy it, but there are just some issues, minor issues I have with it. And it kind of made it a little bit hard to want to read more because I didn't know how others would be like. But, Dragon Ball fixed that problem, that bias I had, because Dragon Ball's fight scenes are fucking incredible. They're honestly way better drawn than One Piece, in my opinion. I don't know if that's a hot take, but oh well. Um, Everything is so clean. The panels are very like nicely sized. The artwork is great. The character designs are just amazing. Um, and I enjoyed the moral arc. I really enjoyed the oh God, what is the name of uh the cereal Lions? Granola, yeah, granola, that's it. The granola arc I really enjoyed a lot. And then superhero arc has been meh so far. But like, you know, it's still brewing with that classic Dragon Ball charm. Moro is a very much like OG Dragon Ball style villain to me. And there were and basically like, I got the same experience I wanted. It was the exact same thing I had when I first watched it. It was like this really refreshing thing, and it really like showed me that I could enjoy manga. Um, I guess more than I already was. And now I've caught up to Dragon Ball Super. I've caught up to Black Clover. I'm still catching up to Hunter. Um, that could be a whole other video. Um, I finished Kaguya-sama manga, which is like my second favorite manga. Like if I hadn't read Berserk, that would easily be the best manga I've ever read. And I also caught up to the One Punch Man manga, which is really, really, really freaking good. And I'm also reading Tokyo Ghoul for the first time. So, it's just, and that's just all on the Shonen Jump app as well. I have plans to continue reading 20th Century Boys, Star Kingdom, and Slam Dunk, and also read the manga of Free Ring whenever the anime ends, which that is also going to be its own video talking about Free Ring uh, at some point. I'm not sure exactly when I want to record that, but um, yeah, Dragon Ball Super, it kind of like opened my eyes a bit more, just like Dragon Ball originally did for anime. It somehow did the exact same thing for me for manga. And that's something that I really, really appreciate. And I- it's something I hadn't thought about how much I appreciated until I thought about it recently. Um, and so in a nutshell, that's all the reasons why I love Dragon Ball and what that means to me. Dragon Ball was crucially important for me getting into anime, and I probably always will remain a huge Dragon Ball fan, even if at this point there are other, um, there are lots of other anime, and One Piece is my favorite shonen now. Like, Dragon Ball will always hold a special place in my heart, um, for what it managed to do for me and the things I like about it being always consistent, no matter what the medium, be it anime, Dragon Ball movies even, or the manga. So, um, with that in mind, I'm going to wrap up this video by saying thank you, Akira Toriyama. Your characters and world have helped me get into what is probably my favorite medium of consuming media right now, even more than movies, uh, or just normal TV shows. Um, like anime and manga are like my favorite mediums right now, and I genuinely don't think that would have ever happened had I not watched and read Dragon Ball. Um, and so for that reason, I say, salute to you, Akira Toriyama, because you are a legend, but thank you for what you've managed to do for me, even though you've never met me in your life. Um, yeah, that's gonna wrap up the video. Thank you for watching. Rest in peace, King of Kings of Mangakas, Akira Toriyama, and I will see you guys later. Bye.